Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, now we're going to move to F. F is the presentation from the nonprofit funding pool applicants for fiscal year 18 and 19. I'll read the list of applicants in alphabetical order, and you can come up and make your presentation. I'm going to ask you to hold it to 3 minutes, if you will, because we have a lot of people here, and we've got a lot on the agenda tonight. So, with that being said, and I can find my alphabetical list, we shall proceed. And I do time you. I have a stopwatch. Okay, the first is the Arts Council. Is anyone here from the Arts Council?
Someone is.
Okay. Welcome, Ms. Patino.
Thank you. I'm Bobby Cantino with the Arts Council. We're asking the town board for $3,000 to put into community programs that serve the people of Coggins. You have been generous with your money to the Arts Council in the past. We always more than match whatever dollars you invest in our programming to do programs that we have described in the narrative. I trust you have it in front of you. You may have seen in the news recently that we have just lost the grassroots funding, which is from the state legislature. It won't be lost to the county. It will be going to the county school now. We have found over the last couple of years that we were sort of at cross purposes with the North Carolina Arts Council. They were requiring expenditures and concessions from us that we didn't see in the best interest of our community, and we resisted. We hope that we work for the people of Macon County, and we hope that you feel like we're being good stewards of your dollars when we invest in programs like the barbershop course and the town on the square, the other programs that we do for our people, for our community. And we thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone has any questions,
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the next is the Community Care Clinic. Do we have someone here from, yes ma'am? Come right ahead, ma'am.
I'm having a little back and knee problem, so I need it so good. I'm Barbara Taylor with Community Care Clinic of Franklin, and thank you all for your past support. We're requesting $5,000 to provide flu vaccine and other medication to our patients. In the past, you have provided, and there's been a big help. We hope to not get into the big flu epidemic, and that will help. We've been providing free health care to members of their community since 2010, and they have to be at or below 2,200% of the poverty level and have no insurance. We are focusing on education and disease prevention, and hope in the future that we'll have a healthier community. We do have 4 employees who are part-time and 1 part-time employee, and we have many volunteers who are very helpful. We couldn't run the clinic without them, and we really appreciate them. The health department does give us free space, and we're very appreciative of that, and we thank you for all your help in the past. Thank you.
Next is the Franklin Cemetery Association. Mr. Jones and Mr. Choate, who's coming for both? Okay, sir.
We will share our 3 minutes. It will be short. I thought it would be important to bring you up to date on some factors that have occurred since the last time I was here. And we have finally sold the old house. And we were able to pay off the balance of the mortgage. And we had, I think, about $5,000 to $10,000 left. And so we've been able to take over, retake over the responsibility of mowing the cemetery. We have someone who is very capable and has done a relatively good job. We have restricted him to 2 times a month. That's all we can't afford that, but that's all we can afford with the money we've had. And I must tell you that we have expended all of the funds that we were able to have excess from. We are selling some lots now. Not many, but maybe 2, well, maybe 1.5, 2 a month. But that helps. But we don't have enough money to continue to carry on this responsibility. And that's the reason that we've come to the town to request that you make a significant donation to the Cemetery Association. It does a lot to impress the citizens who come to Macon County. You can imagine how many letters and complaints and so forth that I have gotten. I've had a couple of them, and I brought them, but I'm not going to take the time to read them to you. But they were pretty upset about the fact that the cemetery was not being maintained as it had been in the past. And they were able to understand the situation in which the board found itself, but they weren't happy. And we're trying to take every step that we can to resolve this problem and continue the maintenance of the cemetery. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay. Habitat for Humanity. Hi, Ray. Welcome, sir.
Council, Mayor, I'm Rick Westman, Director of Habitat for Humanity. Been here many times before and want to thank you again. We missed last year due to the eclipse. But just to give you an idea of what was done, in 2015, we replaced a roof on a 3-bedroom home in the town of Franklin, replaced the roof on a 2-bedroom home, and repaired a porch system, which went well over the $5,000 that we requested. In 2016, we built a 45-foot handicap ramp. We rebuilt a elderly lady's kitchen, replaced the roof on a 2-bedroom house, and again, we went well over the $5,000 we requested. As well as a couple minor repairs done those 2 years with a total of 1,658 volunteer hours from the WCU sororities and fraternities. And we have a group that comes from Florida every year called Led to Serve, and they take their spring break or fall break up here to help us out. And next week they're going to build 2 ramps out in Otto. So we appreciate the opportunity to come before you. As you know, construction is expensive. Our list keeps growing as our residents age. Ramps are a necessity anymore. The average ramp runs about $2,250 just for a short ramp. You start getting 45 foot and above, you're talking some serious money. The average roof anymore runs about $5,000. So, and as we use the funds, we deduct it, put in and attach a copy of the receipts. At the end of the year, we turn that paperwork over so you can see exactly how we spent that $5,000. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. And the next is the Hospice House Foundation. We have someone here. Yes, I'm Ms. Austin. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Alderson, president of the Hospice House Foundation. For those of you who don't know, our mission is to provide and endow a hospice inpatient facility for our community and to support hospice. There's 39 hospice houses in the state of North Carolina, but none for our western region. The future SCCU Hospice House is located on a former Dryman property at 272 Maple Street in the town of Franklin. We will be remodeling the existing home for family area and adding 6 patient suites, staff support areas, offices, and a chapel. We have submitted a $5,000 grant application to you all in the amount of $5,000. Should the grant be awarded to the foundation, the funds would be used to offset expenses for a construction administrator for the project. Construction administration will help ensure construction of the hospice house is completed according to plans, on time, and within the budget. Construction will take place we hope to begin construction this fall. We're real excited about it, and it will take about a year to complete the project. So we are working hard, and we're anxious to get the shovels in the ground. We appreciate what you do for all the nonprofits, and we appreciate your consideration of our needs.
Thank you, sir. And the next is Kids Place. Welcome, Miss Alicia. How are
Good evening,
you?
Mr. Mayor, Council. I want to thank you for your support for Kids Place in past years. We are so appreciative of the wonderful partnership that we have had with the town and especially with the Franklin Police Department. Kids Place, you've got the packet in front of you, so I won't go into a whole lot of details, but we provide a vital service for the town of Franklin especially by doing our forensic interviews. And we've seen over the last year a 74% increase in the number of new referrals. It has just been, it has been a very busy year. We've quickly outgrown the space we're in, and so Maple Street's going to be real busy, we hope, in the next year. We are hoping to build a new facility behind the Franklin Fire Department and be closer to the police department. And if grant funds are awarded to Kids Place, the majority of that funding will go to pay for the staff that does the child forensic interviews for our youth and teens and children, and to pay for some therapy. Kids Place is nationally accredited. I think it's something that Franklin should be very proud of, how we take care of our children who are maltreated in Macon County. If any of you have never been to Kids Place, please come see us. I would love to give you a tour. And again, thank you so much for the support you've given so that we can provide this very highly technical service that it's just gotten more technical over the years. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Alicia. Okay, Macon County Care Network. Someone here? Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. I'm Tim Hogsett. I'm the Executive Director at CareNet. I just want to thank you for your past support and your continued support of CareNet. For 30 years now, CareNet has been providing food and nurturing hope for the residents of Macon County and of Franklin. In 2017, our pantry, we handed out 258,958 pounds of food. Our soup cafe, we provided 7,835 meals. Total households that we helped was 5,944 households and 11,408 individuals. We are requesting $5,000 to help with our pantry and our soup cafe. The money will be used to buy product, to distribute and provide a meal to those seeking our assistance and the homeless. In Franklin, 26.8% of families and 34.2% of individuals live below the federal poverty line. 78% of full-time workers say they live paycheck to paycheck. It's safe to say that most of the people are one unexpected bill, one accident, one sickness away from being in a crisis situation, most of which would not qualify for any kind of government assistance. That's what we're there for, is to help them in that crisis situation. If you've never been in a situation like that, it's scary and unsettling. We want to continue to help with those during these difficult times. We do get donations of money and food. This will help us to stock our pantry and our warehouse for the holidays and the colder months coming up. The money will be spent between Manna Food Bank in Asheville and our local grocery stores. Basically, wherever I can get the best deal, that's where I'm going to go and spend the money. And we will keep receipts and report back to the town. So thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, Macon County Humane Society. Is anyone here from the Humane Society? Oh, yes. Hi, Miss Kathy.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. Hey. Thank you for giving us a chance to talk tonight. I'm Kathy Howman, and I am the President and Shelter Director at Macon County Humane Society, or Appalachian Animal Rescue. I sent you a package that had figures in it to the middle of June. So there's a little update. Our spay and neuter public assistance since October of 2017 until September 1st, we have now helped 90 people get their pets spayed or neutered, and that's 127 cats and dogs that will not be repopulating out in the streets of Macon County. We have used $3,582 of the $4,820 grant you gave us last year. So our request is for your help in enabling us to continue this program in the coming year. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Appreciate it. Okay. And the next is the Macon County Public Library. Hi, Miss Karen. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for entertaining our request. We appreciate the support you've given us in the past. Our request this year is for equipment. It's a digital microfilm reader. And although I know that everybody thinks everything's on the internet, it's not. and I thought maybe some of you wouldn't even know what microfilm looks like, so I brought a reel with me.
The real thing.
The real thing. So this is microfilm. If you haven't seen it before. So much of the microfilm collection that we have at the library is the Franklin Press. We also have census records, we have land records, we have cemetery records, we have marriage records. Lots of genealogical and historical research is possible using the microfilm collection at the library. We have a digital microfilm reader printer so that people can make copies. And I thought it would be interesting to see some of the things that people make copies of. So we have an article from the past Franklin Press of Bob Scott being named WCU Executive Officer. We have an article that the board clears the way for Franklin's first indoor shooting range. And we have an article talking about the library improving services. And we have a copy of some obituaries, which is a very common thing for people to come and do research on. So I just brought those along because I think it's a lot more interesting to see the kinds of things that people do when they come to the library, the kinds of research they're looking for. So although some of the information is available digitally, it's not all on the internet and it's not all free. Some of the Franklin Press is available for a fee through newspapers.com. Some of it is available for no fee through NC Digital Library. The Heritage Library digitizes a lot of old newspapers and makes those available. But there are a lot of gaps. And if you're looking for information from the Franklin Press for historical purposes, genealogical research, the Macon County Library is a very popular place to go. The reader that we have right now is about 13 years old and is no longer going to be covered under a maintenance contract. The vendor has offered us a very nice deal, so we're asking for $5,000 to cover the replacement of that machine, and a computer, it has to connect to a computer to operate for viewing and printing. That's our request. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Can I keep that article? Well, that was a long time ago. You need that.
Hey, we have that long time ago thing.
And Regis, I think, Miss Jennifer, hi.
Like, how could you miss my hair, Mayor? It's obvious.
Actually, I didn't. What's it gonna be tomorrow?
I know. On your
Welcome.
toes.
So glad to have you.
My name is Jennifer Turner-Lynn, and I am the Assistant Director at Reach of Macon County. And I want to thank you, obviously, for your past support and continued support. But I also want to applaud all of the nonprofits that we have here, because as so many of them came up, for me, what it recalled is the unique partnerships that we have among each other. So not only are we often using the money, well, we should be using the money that you allot for us for public good, but we are all supporting each other behind the scenes and trying to fill the gaps wherever we can. So for those of you who don't know, Reach of Macon County is a dual agency that provides services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And last year, just in Macon County, we have, in the last 5 years, are also providing services to Jackson County because their agency closed unexpectedly in 2012. We are the only shelter, domestic violence shelter, within a 45-minute to an hour radius in any direction. And we are really the largest shelter, domestic violence shelter in the region, and the most ADA accessible shelter in the entire region. And we are very proud of that. Last year, we provided in Macon County services to 476 unduplicated clients for a total of 21,923 service contacts for those clients that we worked with. We provided 564 hotline calls, providing crisis intervention, and specifically for shelter, provided shelter to 125 women, children, and men as well, for a total of 3,444 nights of shelter and 10,332 meals. And I think that I would just like to close by saying that there does come a point, I think, in everybody's life where you have the opportunity to stop and say what you do really matters. And for me, that moment came when I stood by the bed of a 90-year-old female who had been physically assaulted, was in the emergency room, and really was left in such a state that she wasn't able to do anything for herself. She couldn't eat, she couldn't walk, she couldn't get up out of bed. And so when I could hold her hand and look at her and hear what she needed for us to provide for her, for me, that validates everything that we do at Reach every day. And so even though you may not see those things, I want you to know that on your behalf and on the town's behalf, that's the work that we're providing. And really, each of the nonprofits here is providing that, just in a different aspect. So thank you very much. And if you have questions, I'd be glad to answer those. Thank you.
Okay, the read to me. Is someone here read to me? Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for considering our request from Read to Me tonight. We, as most of you know, are an agency that strives to increase the literacy level in our preschoolers in Macon County. We have on the agenda upcoming story walk in the JC Park, for the, I'm going to call the JC Park. And we are also continuing to provide the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to all our preschoolers down the hill from Highlands. And at this point, we have 987 preschoolers that are receiving services. So, not sure if any of you have any questions. I'm available for questions. We do appreciate your past service to us, and hopefully we continue to help our little ones who are the most important Macon County citizens.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, the next is the Literacy Council. Someone here from the Literacy Council.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Potts. I'm the Executive Director of the Literacy Council. We are respectfully requesting funds to assist in our in-school tutoring program. We have a Franklin coordinator, Mrs. Carol Waldrop, who's here tonight, who organizes and trains, generally speaking, their former teachers that have retired to go into 4 of our elementary schools here in Franklin and work with these children on a day-to-day basis in the school. So it's very vital to the education. We're showing much more increased test scores in the classrooms where the tutors are working. And so we're asking you to, again, help us to support that. Thank you for all of your past support, and thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Leah. Okay, that concludes the presentations. Yes, ma'am?
Commissioner, Mayor, and Council, if I may, there is one additional packet. You'll see on there the Women's History Trail. After some discussion with that organization, they've requested that they would like to pull that request. We'll be hearing from them on a separate issue that may be more obtainable for this organization at your October meeting. So if we can just make note to pull that application.
Okay. So done. All right. Those of you that were here to make those presentations, if you'd like to take about 2 minutes to leave, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay. So if you'd like to leave, I can't go, but yeah, 2 minute break. Okay. Sure.
Like to be with you. Yeah.